Happy Donald Trump assassination attempt 2.0 day. This is a joke. That's why I'm treating it like a joke, because it is a joke. The amount of times this guy is attempted to be killed. Like, God, I feel sorry for him. Imagine walking around with this target on your back from loonies. This is what he has to deal with, and he can't trust anyone because the Secret Service doesn't have his back. And this is what I want to talk about today. The Secret Service, how he's been let down by the very people that are supposed to be protecting him. And how it's incredibly sus that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have never had an assassination attempt against them, even though the Republicans are supposed to be the crazy ones with all the guns. They've never been threatened. Yet Donald Trump, who is supposed to be the enemy of the beautiful, inclusive, diplomatic, lovely people of the left, keeps getting shot at. This doesn't make sense. Why is there this ironclad prison around Democrats, yet there is free reign when it comes to Donald Trump and Republicans? This is not fair. I don't care if you're on left, right, Republican, Democrats. Human life needs to be protected. And this is what that FBI official said at the press conference after, trying to justify why Donald Trump is always 2 steps behind these crazy shooters.
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right. And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. Well, because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter.
Okay, so this guy is saying that he doesn't get the same security treatment as Joe Biden or Kamala Harris because he's not a sitting president, which is absolute bullshit to me, because the guy is clearly under threat. He's been shot at once before. He almost had his brain blown off the rest of his body. That in itself should give him more security than anyone else, because people are after him and they know it. Yet with all of that intel, with all of those stuff-ups that they made the first time around, they let it happen again. You would think, just for their own egos, so they don't look like complete incompetent idiots, that they would beef up the security around Donald Trump. But no, it's clear they haven't done that. How has this happened a second time to this guy? It's not like he's George W. Bush or even Obama. They were president, but they're not anymore, and it's been a long time. No one is expecting 100% Secret Service taxpayer-funded security for those guys. But Donald Trump, A, has been president before, B, is running to be president again and is on the campaign trail, and C, is clearly under threat. He's been shot at before. He is the person who requires the most security out of everyone, and yet he's getting the least security. Don't tell me that that's purely bureaucracy, because if the shoe was on the other foot and Joe Biden was running to be president or Kamala Harris was running to be president and they had been shot at once before, coming within an inch of their lives, don't tell me that there would not be beefed up security everywhere that they went. How did this guy, this 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Routh, how did he even, A, know that Donald Trump was playing golf that day, because it wasn't publicly available, it wasn't on his schedule? And B, how did he even get within range of Donald Trump? Once again, this is the same shit over and over. How did that guy get onto the roof who almost blew his head off? And how did this guy get within the vicinity of the golf course to be close enough to be in range to shoot at Donald Trump? Now, thankfully, he didn't get that far. The Secret Service and the FBI caught him before that. And people are congratulating them. They're congratulating the Secret Service for doing their job, albeit too late. Isn't their job to scope out the area before the president gets there? They did the absolute bare minimum. Yes, they walked 2 steps ahead of him and saw him before he could shoot. And that's good. That's good. You know, I'm commending them for that. But the bar is low, isn't it? The bar is so low when we're congratulating the Secret Service, the most elite squadron of intelligence in the United States, the best country in the world, for simply doing their job and helping Donald Trump avoid getting killed yet again. Now, I don't know, but I'm not going to congratulate mediocrity because the Secret Service shouldn't be mediocre. They're not cops walking on the street doing their beat. It's the Secret Service. They need to be better than this. They shouldn't even have random, crazy, blue-haired people walking up to anywhere near Donald Trump, especially within AK-47 range. I am so sus on this Secret Service. They have time and time again shown that they're either incompetent, which isn't good, or there's something going on and they're not protecting Donald Trump for a reason. Now, none of those options are good and both need to be looked into. How many times is this going to happen? Donald Trump's son went on the news today, Sunday night American time, and said, "My father doesn't have many lives left." And it's so true. These guys are going to keep going at him. They're going to keep shooting. They're going to keep trying to find opportunities to kill Donald Trump. They've made that very clear. And the Secret Service are not doing their jobs to stop that from happening. It's very, very hard to protect yourself when the people who are supposed to be protecting you are against you. Now, Donald Trump needs to be hiring his own security at this point because he can't trust anyone in the FBI or the Secret Service. They're clearly against him, and maybe it's not the exact people, his exact security from the Secret Service, but there is someone right at the top who is pulling the levers, who doesn't like it. I don't know what's going on. But it's sus. It stinks. And how many times does this have to happen before there's some real change? As I said, if I was Donald Trump, I would be getting my own security privately, pay them handsomely. He can afford it. He shouldn't have to, but with everything that's going on, if he wants to keep his life, he probably has to do that. And that's a really sad indictment. You know, everyone's saying that he's a threat to democracy. The fact that the Secret Service, the high security in the land, can't even be trusted to look after this guy and not make sure that he's dead, that is a threat to democracy. The fact that we're even questioning that there could be some sort of foul play going on here within the ranks, that is a threat to democracy. That shows that democracy is not working as it should because there needs to be able to be an opposition. And right now, the Democrats, whoever's in charge, the deep state, who don't want Donald Trump to prosper and to win this election, and who are putting every single speed hump before him so he can topple over and not have to run and probably win because they're so threatened by him, they are the threat to democracy, not Donald Trump, not the guy who has to look around his shoulder every 10 minutes because there are so many assassination attempts against him. This is unprecedented in the history of elections in the West. And it's no surprise and no coincidence that it's against the one person who is the freedom fighter of the West. And how about these MSNBCs and CNNs and ABCs trying to blame Trump for his own near assassination? Like the gaslighting. Imagine if that happened to Kamala Harris or, any woman. This is the equivalent of blaming a woman for wearing a short skirt if she was sexually assaulted. This is exactly the same sort of thinking, the toxic thinking that is just so damaging. Let's take a look at this MSNBC reporter who literally blames Donald Trump for almost getting killed.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
It's absolutely disgusting. It's so disgusting. And they're doing it because they know that they're complicit. The rhetoric and the vitriol that is going on in the mainstream media against Donald Trump, against the Republicans, that is also a threat to democracy. Now, lucky not many people watch MSNBC or CNN or any of those news stations anymore because they are poisoning the minds of their viewers. This is what they've been saying about Donald Trump throughout this election cycle. They're saying, put a target on him. He needs to be eliminated. Greatest threat to democracy. Literally Hitler. These are the things that are on mainstream television. And they're calling Donald Trump a threat to democracy. They are desperately trying to get Kamala Harris in and Donald Trump out. And they know that they're probably going to lose. And so they will do anything. They will sell their soul and sacrifice all journalistic integrity to try and get people to vote against Donald Trump. They realize that they are the culprits of this. They have blood on their hands. But they are so blinded by their obsession with getting him out of the way and getting Kamala Harris in that they will stop at nothing. It's such a low in journalism. I've never seen this in my life. And then to turn around and blame Donald Trump for these crazies who watch their news coming out, getting a gun, feeling like they're doing something for society, that they're doing good by eliminating this man. It's absolutely disgusting.